Politics is not about glamour. Politics is very unpredictable, at times very cruel, merciless, very demanding because it sucks you. And politics also requires such young, talented people. But then everybody need to understand the basic limitations which are given in the political sector. But then public representation is not the only department of politics. If you realize it very well, then working for the organization, working in the back office, making politics woven around some policy issues is also something which is very critical, which is very important. They have to remind themselves that the starting point of their political career was some passion to work for the society. He said, simple as, sir, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-figure salary, 4-wheeler, 3-bedroom hall kitchen, 2 kids and 1 wife. Adhyan, study. It's something I believe no matter what you are in politics, you cannot disassociate yourself from.
Namaste Vinay ji. Welcome back to Rishihood campus. So you have seen the entire journey from Vision India Foundation, the first policy bootcamp to the 8th edition now, and you have seen how we have evolved into a university. And during this process, many of our alumni have had the opportunity of working with you under your mentorship. So I wanted to get a sense from you, given the recent mandate as well, that for a political aspirant, and you have mentored so many of them over the decades, what should they take away? And if there is something that is constant across various political mandates, how should a political aspirant train for himself in this career? Because that's a question always I get, so I want to dodge it to you.
Well, many youngsters who have some aspiration to work in politics, essentially I tell them 3-4 things which I believe they need to understand, and I am very much convinced about them. Number one is that they should not separate politics from public conduct, public life in general, social work in general. It is a part of that. So the kind of glamour that goes with politics especially, I think they should keeping it separate. Politics is not about glamour.
Yeah.
Number one. They should understand that politics is very unpredictable, at times very cruel, merciless, and very demanding. Because it sucks you practically.
Yeah.
And all your time, energy, resources, everything, it's something that a career in politics perhaps expects you to invest, which you may afford, you may not afford.
Yeah.
So I many times compare it with people who pursue their administrative services examination for years and years and years and years. And they do not have a fallback arrangement.
Yeah.
They don't think about it. And at the end of the age limit, after which they cannot appear for an examination, they realize that we have wasted so many years.
Yeah.
And I see very much a possibility that this may happen. Somebody who is so very kind of attracted towards politics, starts working as a volunteer, maybe as a personal assistant, or somebody in the back office of a political party. Well, it is good. And politics also requires such young, talented people. But then everybody need to understand the basic limitations which are given in the political sector.
Okay. That's a good advice, that you have to de-glamorize politics, right?
Perfect.
And you compared it to the civil services, but unlike the civil services, here you're tested even if you get elected every 5 years, where in the civil services, once you make it. So once you get in, also there would be a different piece of advice, because you did all the hard work to make it and become an elected representative. But how do you stay grounded? And how do you continue to carry the same mindset after doing all that?
I agree. Even this de-glamorization, I believe requires to be continued after you become maybe a MLA or municipal corporator or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's a momentary thing. See, it's not going to be there all along. Whatever the position that you may be appointed on is going to remain there up to a particular duration.
Yeah.
So, Karyakarta as an activist, that is a position which you can enjoy for lifelong.
Yeah.
But otherwise, all these things are temporary. That everybody has to realize, I believe so. And secondly, I believe when you look at politics as a kind of career, and you compared it with, I said that As compared to administrative services, politics is a little different as well. But as you rightly said, that you have to appear for an examination every 5 years.
Yeah.
Elections are there. But then public representation is not the only department of politics. If you realize it very well, then working for the organization, working in the back office, making politics woven around some policy issues is also something which is very critical, which is very important.
True. Yes.
And therefore the sense of purpose. I mean, one has to kind of hold that mirror every now and then and ask this question, why am I in politics? If you have ability and the courage to honestly answer yourself, why are you in politics? I believe your life is going to be very peaceful and contentful as well, if you are able to have this question asked to yourself every now and then.
That's a very interesting and important advice that we have to constantly remind ourselves about why we are there.
In fact, I keep on telling many grown-up politicians also, because they also get frustrated. As I said, politics is unpredictable. At times, now for example, there are many people who face defeat in these elections. They were very high-ranking people in a way. Now, how would they look at it? See, if they have to save themselves from getting deeply frustrated, they have to remind themselves that the starting point of their political career was some passion to work for the society.
Right.
It's not on day one you decide that I have to be. Nowadays, things are different. With Gen Z, maybe they have that planning before their eyes possible. But otherwise, what attracted you to join politics was some passion.
Yeah.
Something that you wanted to work for the society, for a cause. So, let us revisit that point of entry.
Yeah.
Because that was the Gangotri.
Yeah.
And then things become a little more understand.
So you have to keep reminding yourselves why you entered politics.
Perfect.
The day one, as you're saying, the Gangotri, the passion that you came up with. So if there is an interim failure, you will go back to the reasons why you came to politics and come back to your maybe having the same passion.
In lighter way, I am tempted to say over here, when I was in 2014 Modi campaign, and many young enthusiasts had joined that campaign, and in one such meeting, a 20-something asked me a question. It was a very blunt question. He said, "Sir, do you know what do we want in politics, in our life?" I was a little taken aback by the bluntness of the question. All of a sudden he came. But I said, perhaps I know, because my son is also almost of your age. But you please enlighten me. What do you want in life? He said, simple hai, sir. We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, 5-figure salary, 4-wheeler, 3-bedroom hall kitchen, 2 kids and 1 wife.
Okay.
Now, one may say that this is a very materialistic view. I would not. This is a very focused approach, I would say. Right or wrong, that's a different story. I'm not going to be judgmental on that. But at least that person has a very focused kind of a thing, that I want to go there. Precise, period. So, if you... this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cannot be applied in politics.
Okay.
Because it's not that hunky-dory. Number of hiccups are there.
Yes.
Number of things and without your control are there.
Yes. So, while you were mentioning there are various ways to contribute to public life, you said in political life you can also contribute towards policy. So one thing we realize is a lot of people are active in politics through, as you said, karyakarta and activism. There is no time to think of policy, and suddenly you come to a position where you are framing laws and you are debating policy. You come in front of media and you defend or you counter the opposite view. So how does a person spend time on policy as well in the whole, the busyness of political life? Because that would be the test naturally at one point.
I believe you call it policy studies, but basically studies.
Yes.
For example, let's take the example of my own experience. I was in ICCR for 2 terms, and we were trying all along, I could not, to compare the functioning of ICCR with, say, let's say, British Council or Cervantes or the American Center.
Yeah.
I mean, they cannot be compared per se with ICCR. But there are some areas.
Yes, yes.
And if we were able to gather some insights out of... Now, there are different things. I mean, some institutions are independent, autonomous institutions. There is too less a government control. Some institutions are self-supporting. I mean, they generate their own resources, unlike ICCR.
Yeah.
So, you cannot compare these two things, frankly speaking. But still, it would have helped us gather some insight. How do we present our country, the culture of our country? Likewise, in every other government scheme as well, there are several issues which we require to point to the decision makers, people in the government, maybe officials or the ministers, and tell them that these are the fault lines, these are the gaps, these are the areas where you are likely to falter. Because there is a study to support our analysis. So, Adhyan, study, it's something I believe no matter what you are in politics, you cannot disassociate yourself from that.
You have to always stay a learner.
Of course, I mean,
and keep reading.
Insight gathering. For example, nowadays these are the incubation centers everywhere. Perhaps I had referred to this to you earlier as well. Every IIT comes out with an incubation center. Such a good thing. But is it not worthwhile to gather an insight by undertaking some study of those who have been successfully incubated and those who have not? So there is a sociology of the technology, sociology of the economics, sociology of the business environment. All these things, if we kind of try to understand, then we would be able to reshape those politics to suit to the people who are vulnerable or who are from the most disadvantaged sections of the society. So where it has to reach, it has to reach. Then simply by saying that we have incubated so many, but you have to be able to give an answer to this question, that why of the 100, only 52 have gone up to a level and 48 not. There must be some reason. Was the reason in the very weak and feeble or untenable kind of concept behind? Was it the technology that was wrong? Was it the ecosystem? Was it the publicity and advertising that went in a very different manner? So where were the mistakes?
So this attitude of research or finding out, as it's called critical thinking, right? So you'll have to, you can't just go by narratives and headlines, right? So because you mentioned ICCR and you said you were also leading ICCR for 2 terms, one question that always comes to my mind is, now we know that millions of students are now going abroad, right, to study. Many of them are in STEM, and they are in many ways our citizen ambassadors given the political situation abroad. And typically when you go there, you will be asked questions about what is your country stand on a war, or what is your religion all about, or what is this. They are very curious to know about your culture. And many a times what they are representing us, and it impacts India as well, because they may say some things. So how do we train them or give them an orientation? Because given India's rise, people are curious to know about India, but we may formally not be trained in answering perhaps the cross-cultural questions, the political questions. So how do we do this? Because just one foreign minister is not going to help us do this, right? We'll have to, each of us have to play our role.
Institutions, even like this university, can offer some orientation programs, maybe a month-long thing, to understand as to how do we represent India and Indian culture. I mean, because they are one and the same. You cannot think about India without Indian culture. So you have to understand. So how do we represent them? There are questions about our caste system. There are questions about gender. There are questions about so many languages. There are questions about so many ways of worship. So all these things, first of all, you have to appreciate. And then you have to present. You did not kind of plead defending the wrong things on the one hand. At the same time, you don't require to be diffident when things are pretty much very logical, and we should not be feeling shy of presenting them. We should be taking due pride as well. So this balancing is also something very required, and therefore some orientation. Now, how many takers will be there is a matter of conjecture. I mean, you cannot predict that. But let us attempt.
Thank you for saying that, because at Rishihood, right in the first semester, they have a course on global grand challenges and another course on understanding India. And we do this together. So to understand the global scenario and to understand our civilizational past and where we position ourselves in the community of nations, this gives them an orientation for their further studies. But also when they become our ambassadors in the places of work in MNCs, or if they go abroad and when they get these questions. So we have designed a very interesting curriculum to answer some of the simple questions that you mentioned, which all of us can fairly easily do. So thank you, Vinayji, for your time, and thank you for coming once again.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.